Iceland, the land of fire and ice, known for its breathtaking views and epic landscapes. This winter, we're going on a road trip around the Golden Circle Loop to see the top sites. If you're new to the channel, my name is John. I take you on adventures with me around the world. Subscribe for future adventures and give us a thumbs up if you like the video. Now it's winter here, -10 degrees Celsius, and we only have 4 to 5 hours of sunlight, but that is not stopping us, so let's hit the road.
Wow, absolutely stunning.
Welcome to Þingvellir National Park, and it's one of the top things to do outside of Reykjavik. In addition to the beautiful scenery, it holds a huge cultural importance to Iceland, so let's go see the top sites. Þingvellir National Park is 35 minutes outside of Reykjavik. You can self-drive like we did, or there's a lot of tour bus options, especially if you don't feel safe driving in the winter conditions. There's no fee for the park itself, but there is a parking fee, and obviously if you're taking a tour, there's a parking fee or tour fee for that. But it's a great way to experience the Icelandic nation and start your experience. Þingvellir means assembly plains. Had its first parliament dating all the way back to 930 AD. So of course, it is the oldest parliament globally, which means it has a huge cultural significance for the country of Iceland. Now, it became its first national park in 1928 and has been recognized as UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. The park itself is right along the Golden Circle Loop. At the very beginning of the park, you have the visitor center, which has a cafe, exhibit, and right next to it is an observation deck. You can get some amazing views, unparalleled, unmatched of the whole park. But we're about to dive into the park and see its other features. There are bathrooms throughout the park, and especially at the visitor center. But one thing we notice is the bathrooms here are very nice. They have spectacular views. So we definitely recommend using the facilities as well as checking out the visitor center. So JLU travel tip. Öxarárfoss drops 13 meters down, and of course as we get into the middle of winter it'll probably be completely frozen, but it's a 10-minute walk and it's one of the top sites in the national park. When it's -10 degrees Celsius, obviously the smaller waterfalls are going to be completely frozen, but it's a beautiful walk to go see them. One of the top things to do in the national park is to do scuba diving and snorkeling at the Silfra Fissure, which was created by an earthquake by the North American Eurasian tectonic plates. The water is some of the clearest in the world, so it has some of the best scuba diving and snorkeling that you can ever imagine. It's a little cold, so we're not going to do it, but it's one of the top things to do here. Even in the wintertime when it's -10 degrees Celsius, it is still very popular to do scuba diving and snorkeling. I think we got to come back in the summertime, especially when it's warmer, for Andrea and me, especially Andrea. That way we can enjoy the water. Thingvellir Church is closed for tours, but it's absolutely scenic. I don't think I need to go inside. There's many paths that you can get great views, and of course with the mountains and snow, you're going to get that perfect picture. We traveled 30 minutes away from the national park, and along the Golden Circle, we saw beautiful farmland, gave way from the frozen tundra. Still very cold though, but if the steam is an indication of where we ended our next stop, it's the Great Geysir Strokkur, so let's take a closer look. Before we see the geyser, we're passing along a huge geothermal area. We want to talk about what actually makes a geyser. It actually needs 3 things. One is a steady flow of water. 2, a hot source like liquid hot magma, and 3, unique plumbing system that causes it to spurt out. But we're getting closer, and obviously we can smell the rotten eggs or sulfur, so we're getting close. We even brought the crampons, but yours truly was bold. But I have to say, J-Lou travel tip, definitely wear the crampons. It's slippery on some of these paths. When the Strokkur Geyser goes off, it can get up to 15 to 20 feet and goes off every 5 to 10 minutes, but it's quite a sight to see. Of course, Geyser has a cafe, souvenir shop, and restrooms, just like many other hot spots along the route. It's a great way to stock up on your snacks as you hit the road. As you drive around, you'll notice that there's beautiful Icelandic ponies, like this one right here. Good boy, good girl. You would like some FaceTime. Probably food too, but I don't have any. We made it to the famous Gullfoss waterfall. And this waterfall has 2 layers. The first layer drops 36 feet, second layer 69 feet. And as you can see, it's carved up a big canyon, which has lots of water that comes from the glacier right up the falls. There's a walking path that you get great pictures of the waterfall. In the summertime, you can get a little bit closer. Obviously, during the winter time, they've closed it off for safety purposes. Whew. It might be the wind or the ice, or even the ice that you see on the waterfall. But winter is here. I can feel the coldness. We made it over to the Skálholt Cathedral, and it is one of the most important historical sites in Iceland. The Episcopal See was the capital of Iceland for over 750 years. This building that we're in right now, the cathedral, was consecrated in 1963. It is the 10th church, and the first church was built in around 1000. And man, it has seen a lot of history. As Christianity has evolved, it saw a lot of turbulent times. The altarpiece behind me was installed in 1966, and obviously it shows Jesus Christ, but the artist wanted to show Christ rising as a spirit, showing Icelandic summer landscape, which is really cool. The cathedral has amazing acoustics, and they have an organ, which are featured in a lot of concerts they have throughout the year. The best part of coming to Skálholt is probably that we have it to ourselves. It looks like the tour buses have come and gone, so it's great to have this freedom to just explore. Seljalandsfoss is one of the most popular waterfalls along the southern loop on your way to Vik, and it's right off of Route 1, and we definitely recommend checking it out. One of the most unique things about this waterfall is there's a path that you can go around behind it. Obviously during winter time it's closed off because it's a little icy and hazardous, but during the summertime it's worth checking out. If you're worried about the path behind the waterfall during the winter time, have no fear. There's a side path that takes you along the ridge, and there's some smaller waterfalls, and it looks absolutely stunning. Whew, we made it, success. We did see someone fall, so man, you need to be very careful. You have to have some crampons or something on your boots to just traverse the icy winter here in Iceland. We made it to the famous Skógafoss, and it may look familiar from different TV shows and movies like Thor, Game of Thrones, and many more. What's also really interesting is it was the point of the former coastline, feeds right into the river out to the Atlantic Ocean. It is one of the biggest waterfalls in Iceland, 25 meters wide, 60 meters tall, and it's just absolutely impressive. And on a sunny day, you can see a rainbow. Obviously, we're here during the winter and the sun's setting, so unfortunately we don't get to see one now, but if you're here on a sunny day, absolutely beautiful. There's a pathway up to the top, so we're going to head that way next. Speaking of mist, there is a lot coming from this waterfall. And if you're here during the winter time, I would definitely have some waterproof material because you could get a little bit wet from the mist. Halfway there. "527 steps later, we are at the top." As dusk falls upon us at 3:45, we just have to take these stunning views. Not only do you get great views of the waterfall, river, mountains, snow, but also in the distance you can see the beautiful Atlantic Ocean. And it's not that far away. As we walk along the waterfall, we want to make note of something. On the eastern side, there's a hiking path that goes over the pass in between two glaciers. And I have to be honest, the spelling and pronunciation a little difficult, so we'll put the spelling right below. As we end our time at Skógafoss, we want to talk about Crazy's chest of gold. A settler in Iceland hid a chest of gold behind the waterfall, right out of reach and inaccessible, but 3 men attempted to get the chest and they ripped off the ring, which was put on the church in Skógafoss, later moved to the Folklore Museum in Skógafoss. Now, as the evening comes to a close, we're heading to Vik, which is famous for its black beaches, which we'll see during the light during the daytime. But for now, let's enjoy an Icelandic treat. We finally made it to Vik, and there were a lot of good food options, but we landed on the soup company. And how it works is you can pick your soup. There's 5 or 6 different options. You can have it in or out of a bread bowl, which of course we chose the bread bowl. Andrea got the spicy lava soup, which is a beef bulog soup. They also have local butter that comes with it. For moi, I went with the Icelandic lamb soup. And of course, to wash it all down, a local beer. Cheers. Absolutely delicious. Hits a spot on a cold day. I think both soups definitely hit the spot, especially when it's winter. The Icelandic lamb soup you can find almost anywhere. It's a very classic dish. You can find it in gas stations, other restaurants, etc. And for Andrea's hot lava, we originally thought she had butter, but it actually, or even sour cream, was like a yogurt you kind of mix in there and tastes absolutely delicious. But we're ready for round 2. I'm going to have a red tomato and feta soup, and Andrea's going to go with a fish soup. Round 2, here we go. Cheers. Delicious. Hits the spot again. Whew, wow, we just finished our meal and we were debating some of our soup rankings. So here they are. Number 1, the hurry curry fish soup. That was our favorite by far. Had classic Icelandic cod, had a taste of cream, like coconut cream, and it just had a lot of really great, delicious taste to it. Then our second one was the red lava, had shredded beef. It wasn't quite as soupy, but we'll forgive them for that as it was really delicious. Our third was the classic tomato soup, which had croutons, creamy with a little bit of cheese. I think that's my personal favorite back home. And then lastly, no offense, is the Icelandic lamb soup. It just didn't have as much flavor as some of the other soups, but if you're into trying something different, that's a good dish to try as well. Soup Company shares the building with the lava show. Now, we're not going to be doing the lava show, but if you want to learn more about lava, and apparently they have actual lava, this is the show for you. You can book online or at the place itself. I mean, we'll include the link below, but it looks really fun, and you could get soup afterwards. When you're leaving the Golden Circle Road and going through the southern loop, you'll notice right off of Route 1 there's a shopping center. And of course, they have a bonus discount grocery store, some souvenir shops, but there's one thing that you may not expect. When town developers in the town of Hervagerði were looking for an ideal shopping center, they figured right off of Route 1 was an ideal location. So in 2003, they started digging, but they found a deep crevice in the middle of what would be the foundation. Discovered that the crevice is part of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, which is where the North American and European tectonic plates meet. Normally, this ridge is mostly found in the ocean, but it divides Iceland into two halves. The developers really embraced the crevice by installing reinforced glass that you can take a look at it. And if you don't feel like going to the Silfra Fissure, this is a great way that you can see the divide. Since the rift was found, the developers had to adapt and change their plans, make sure it was reinforced, and put in some earthquake safety measures. This just shows you of how Iceland has to adapt to Mother Nature, as it can be very unpredictable here. We attempted to see the black sands, but as you can see behind me, there was fog, and even more fog. So just use your imagination or Google a picture of the black sands and you can see it behind me. Andrea and I both agreed that touring the Golden Circle and the wilderness of Iceland was amazing. I mean, the views that we got, the epic landscapes, waterfalls, geysers, all definitely worth it. We rented a car, which we used Lotus. We got the Platinum package, which we would recommend, especially during wintertime because the weather can be unforgiving. We also got a Wi-Fi hotspot, which was a lifesaver. Definitely recommend doing that. And also, don't forget to get some crampons because in the wintertime it gets very icy, especially around the paths. And of course, if you decide to do a tour, there are many different tour options, but make sure you do your research in advance. Now, if you liked the video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe for future adventures, but until next time, keep on exploring.